The ultimatum. The skies above New York City shimmered with an unnatural light, casting an eerie glow over the bustling metropolis. In an instant, every screen across the globe, from Times Square billboards to smartphones in rural villages, flickered to life with the same imposing image: a towering reptilian figure adorned with gleaming cybernetic implants. Admiral Zix Thuran of the Galactic Hegemony's voice boomed across the planet, a cacophony of clicks and hisses translated into every human language simultaneously. Humans of Earth, the alien intoned, its multifaceted eyes gleaming with disdain. Your isolation ends today. The Galactic Hegemony has deemed your species worthy of assimilation into our grand empire. In the United Nations headquarters, hastily convened for this unprecedented event, world leaders watched in stunned silence. Secretary General Amara Okoro, a formidable Nigerian diplomat known for her unflappable demeanor, felt a chill run down her spine. Zix Thuran continued, mandibles clicking in what might have been amusement. You have 2 standard galactic cycles, roughly 60 of your Earth days, to submit to our rule. Resistance is inadvisable. We have cataloged 12,492 sentient species across the galaxy. Those who resisted now exist only in our historical archives. The alien's image zoomed out, revealing a vast armada of sleek, predatory ships hanging in the inky void of space. This is but a fraction of our might. Choose wisely, humans. Submission or annihilation. The countdown begins now. The transmission cut off abruptly, leaving billions in a state of shock and fear. In Washington, D.C., President Alina Chen slammed her fist on her desk, her face a mask of determination. Get me the Joint Chiefs now. Across the Atlantic, in a nondescript building in Geneva, Dr. Alexander Volkov allowed himself a grim smile. The head of the ultra-top-secret Global Defense Initiative, GDI, had been preparing for this day for decades. He picked up a secure phone, its line connecting directly to key figures around the world. Initiative Omega is a go. I repeat, Omega is a go. In orbit, aboard the International Space Station, Commander Yuki Tanaka watched the alien armada through high-powered telescopes. Her trained eye noted details that sent her heart racing, not with fear, but with excitement. Those ships, she muttered, they're not as advanced as they want us to think. Back in New York, amidst the chaos of panicked citizens, a street artist named Zeke found himself filled with an unexpected sense of purpose. As people rushed by, he began a mural on a bare wall, a defiant human fist rising against a starry backdrop. Without realizing it, he was creating what would become the iconic image of human resistance. In the following days, the world teetered on the brink of chaos. Stock markets crashed, religious leaders proclaimed the end times, and governments struggled to maintain order. But beneath the surface, something remarkable was happening. In hidden bunkers and secret laboratories across the globe, men and women who had dedicated their lives to preparing for this very scenario sprang into action. Projects that had been dismissed as paranoid fantasies or wastes of resources were suddenly the centerpiece of humanity's hope. Dr. Volkov convened an emergency meeting of the GDI Council, their faces grim but determined on the secure holographic display. Ladies and gentlemen, he began, his Russian accent thick with emotion, the day we feared and prepared for has arrived. It's time to show the galaxy what humanity is truly capable of. Lieutenant General Maria Santos, representing Brazil's hidden technological marvels, leaned forward. The Helios network is ready. At your command, we can deploy a web of quantum-entangled satellites that will give us total informational superiority. Excellent, Volkov nodded. And the Lazarus Protocol. Dr. Kwame Osai, a brilliant Ghanaian biotechnologist, cleared his throat. Human enhancement serums are ready for mass production. Within weeks, we can have an army of soldiers with reflexes and strength that would put our alien friends to shame. As the Council continued their briefing, detailing humanity's secret advancements in AI, energy weapons, and even primitive faster-than-light travel, a sense of cautious optimism began to grow. Meanwhile, in the halls of power, a different kind of preparation was underway. Secretary General Okoro worked tirelessly to unite the nations of Earth under a single banner. Ancient rivalries and petty disputes were set aside in the face of extinction. For the first time in history, humanity spoke with one voice. President Chen, in a globally televised address, struck a tone of defiance that resonated across the world. To the galactic hegemony, we say this: Earth is not your prize to be won. We are not merely an entry in your catalog of conquests. We are humanity, born in stardust, forged in adversity, and destined for the cosmos. If you seek our submission, you'll find only our indomitable will to survive and thrive. And if you choose war, she paused, her eyes flashing with determination. Then may the stars themselves bear witness to the gravest mistake your hegemony has ever made. As Chen's words echoed across the globe, a surge of unity and purpose swept through humanity. In labs and factories, on farms and in schools, every human being found their role in the coming struggle. The message was clear: Earth would not go quietly into the night. Zixtharan, watching the human response from his flagship, felt a flicker of unease. These primitives were not reacting as expected. No matter, he thought, crushing the doubts. They would learn, as all others had, the futility of defying the hegemony. Little did the alien admiral know, but his ultimatum had not crushed the human spirit. It had awakened a sleeping giant. As the countdown to invasion ticked away, Earth was transforming. Not into a cowering, submissive world ripe for conquest, but into a fortress, a launchpad, and a terrible surprise for any who would dare threaten humanity's home. The stage was set. Humanity, united as never before, prepared to face the stars themselves in a battle for survival. And in the depths of secret facilities around the world, weapons and technologies beyond the hegemony's imagination waited to be unleashed. The galaxy had no idea what was coming. Preparations and revelations. As the hegemony's deadline loomed, the face of the Earth began to change. What the aliens perceived as panic and disarray from orbit was, in fact, a carefully orchestrated metamorphosis. In the heartland of North America, vast fields of corn and wheat seemingly withered overnight. But as the crops died, they released clouds of nanites into the atmosphere, microscopic machines that would form Earth's first line of defense. These invisible guardians, developed in secret by a consortium of agronomists and nanotechnologists, would render the planet's air unbreathable to most known alien physiologies. Beneath the streets of major cities worldwide, long-dormant machinery hummed to life. In Paris, the Eiffel Tower subtly reconfigured itself, its iconic shape now housing a powerful gravitational lens capable of bending light, and more lethal forms of energy. The ancient pyramids of Giza, long suspected by conspiracy theorists to be more than they seemed, opened hidden chambers filled with advanced weaponry that melded humanity's oldest and newest technologies. Dr. Volkov stood in the GDI's central command, a vast underground complex beneath the Swiss Alps. Holographic displays showed the progress of Earth's transformation. Remarkable, he murmured, watching as the Great Wall of China rippled with new energy, each ancient stone now a conduit for a planetary shield matrix. Doctor, a voice called. It was Aria, the quantum AI that served as GDI's primary analyst. Her avatar, a swirling constellation of stars in human form, materialized beside him. I've completed my analysis of the hegemony's fleet. Volkov nodded. Go on. Their technology, while advanced, relies heavily on principles we've already theorized or surpassed in secret, Aria explained. Their FTL drives utilize a form of Alcubierre warp, but our Phantom drive is potentially more efficient. Their weapons are primarily plasma-based, which our metamaterial armor should be able to dissipate. A grim smile played on Volkov's lips. So, we have a fighting chance. More than that, Aria corrected. Based on my simulations, if we deploy all our hidden assets, we have a 78.3% chance of not just surviving, but decisively defeating the hegemony's invasion force. Across the globe, other revelations were coming to light. In a subterranean hangar beneath the Mariana Trench, Admiral Kanasato of the Japanese Maritime Self-Defense Force stood before a gleaming fleet of spacecraft. These weren't the clunky rockets the world knew about, but sleek vessels that melded organic curves with lethal efficiency. Tenjin-class battlecruisers, Sato announced to the assembled pilots, men and women drawn from every nation's best. Powered by zero-point energy, armed with quantum disruptors, and shielded by dark matter repulsors. The first human fleet capable of bringing the fight to the stars. Meanwhile, in a hidden city beneath the Antarctic ice, Dr. Zora Mbeki put the finishing touches on what might be humanity's greatest weapon. The Nexus, as it was called, was a hyper-advanced neural network that could link every human mind on the planet into a singular, collective consciousness. With this, Mbeki explained to Secretary General Okoro during a secure briefing, we can coordinate our entire species with one thought. Our reaction times, our problem-solving capabilities, our very creativity will be amplified beyond measure. Okoro's eyes widened. The ethical implications are staggering, yes, Mbeki nodded, which is why it's a last resort. But faced with extinction, we do what we must, Okoro finished, her voice heavy with the weight of the decision. As incredible as these technological marvels were, perhaps the most astounding transformation was happening within the hearts and minds of everyday people. The imminent threat of alien invasion had not cowed humanity, but had instead sparked a renaissance of innovation and cooperation. In Kenya, Maasai warriors worked alongside MIT engineers to construct a network of advanced early warning systems disguised as acacia trees. In the Amazon rainforest, indigenous shamans shared ancient knowledge of plant-based compounds that, when combined with cutting-edge pharmacology, produced combat stimulants that pushed the boundaries of human potential. Factories around the world retooled overnight. Automotive plants now produced modular components for massive mech suits. Smartphone manufacturers redirected their production lines to churn out personal force field generators. Even children played their part, with schools worldwide implementing invasion drills that were, in reality, training for operating swarms of combat drones disguised as common birds and insects. Yet, for all this preparation, secrecy remained paramount. To the watching eyes of the hegemony, Earth still appeared to be a fractured, panicking world ripe for conquest. This illusion was maintained through an elaborate dance of misinformation and staged conflicts, all orchestrated by Area's incredible predictive capabilities. As the deadline drew nearer, President Chen called for a global address. Standing before a simple podium, her words reached every corner of the globe. My fellow humans, the hour of our greatest challenge approaches. For too long, we have fought amongst ourselves, divided by borders, ideologies, and petty differences. But in the face of this threat, we have found our shared humanity. We have remembered that we are one people, born on this pale blue dot floating in the cosmic ocean. She paused, her eyes fierce with determination. To the hegemony, we appear weak, disorganized, and ripe for conquest. Let them think that. For when they come, they will not find an easy victory. They will find humanity united, standing as one. They will find a species that has turned its age-old talent for warfare away from itself and towards the stars. They will find Earth not as the prize they seek to claim, but as the last place in the galaxy they should have ever dared to threaten. Across the world, billions stood a little taller, their resolve hardened. In secret bases and hidden laboratories, final preparations were made. The Tenjin fleet ran last-minute diagnostics. The Nexus hummed with potential energy, ready to link billions of minds. And in orbit, cloaked satellites silently tracked the approaching hegemony armada. Admiral Zixtheren, watching Earth's apparent chaos with smug satisfaction, gave the order to begin the invasion. Little did he know, but his fleet was flying into the most elaborate trap ever conceived by any species in galactic history. As the first hegemony ships entered the outer edges of the solar system, humanity held its breath. The greatest test in human history was about to begin, and deep in the Swiss Alps, Dr. Volkov uttered the words that would change the course of galactic history. Initiate Operation Prometheus. Let's show them what humanity can do. The first strike. The vast emptiness of space beyond Pluto's orbit suddenly blazed with light as the vanguard of the hegemony fleet dropped out of FTL. Thousands of ships, from nimble fighters to massive dreadnoughts, formed up in attack formations. At their center, the flagship Eternal Dominion loomed like a metal leviathan, its hull adorned with the trophies of 100 conquered worlds. Admiral Zix Thurin stood on the bridge, his cybernetic eyes gleaming with anticipation. Commence the attack. Let's remind these primates of their place in the cosmos. As the fleet surged forward, the first hint that something was amiss came from the outermost sensors. The solar system's celestial bodies weren't quite where they should be. Before the navigation officers could recalibrate, chaos erupted. Pluto, thought to be a mere dwarf planet, suddenly shed its icy shell. The celestial body that emerged was a massive battle station, its surface bristling with weaponry that had lain dormant for decades. Beams of concentrated solar energy lanced out, slicing through the unprepared hegemony ships. Impossible, Zix Thurin roared. All ships, evasive maneuvers. But it was only the beginning. Throughout the solar system, humanity's preparations revealed themselves in a symphony of destruction. The rings of Saturn ignited, becoming a minefield of plasma charges. Jupiter's great red spot erupted, launching swarms of automated drones that tore into the alien fleet's flanks. On Earth, Dr. Volkov watched the unfolding battle with grim satisfaction. Area. Status report. The AI's voice was calm amidst the chaos. Phase 1 proceeding as planned, Doctor. The hegemony fleet has lost 23% of its strength and is in disarray. Volkov nodded. Initiate Phase 2. Deploy the Tenjin fleet. Deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, massive hangar doors slid open. The water churned as humanity's secret armada rose from the depths. Led by Admiral Sato's flagship, the Spirit of Terra, the Tenjin-class vessels shot into the sky, their phantom drives leaving no exhaust trail to betray their Earth origins. As they approached the moon, the lunar surface rippled. What appeared to be craters were actually masked launch bays. A second human fleet, hidden on the dark side of the moon, joined the fray. The battle that ensued in Earth's orbit was unlike anything the galaxy had ever witnessed. Human ships, thought by the hegemony to be centuries away from spaceflight, danced between enemy vessels with impossible agility. Their quantum disruptors tore holes in reality itself, swallowing alien ships whole. Admiral Zix Thurin, for the first time in his long career, felt fear. This is not possible. They were primitives. We monitored them for decades. His second-in-command, visibly shaken, replied, "Sir, we're detecting energy signatures unlike anything in our databases. Their technology, it's beyond anything we've encountered." On Earth, the ground itself came alive. Mountains turned cities, revealing themselves as massive mech suits piloted by hybrid AI-human teams. They strode into the atmosphere, engaging hegemony dropships attempting to land invasion forces. In orbit, Admiral Sato's voice crackled over the comms. "All ships, execute maneuver Izanagi. Let's show them what Earth can do." The Tenjin fleet moved in perfect synchronization, their formation shifting like a murmuration of starlings. They encircled a large portion of the hegemony fleet, herding them towards Earth. As the alien ships approached the atmosphere, expecting to break through to the planet's surface, they met instead with humanity's final surprise. The nanite cloud, seeded weeks ago, activated. It coalesced into a shimmering barrier that trapped the hegemony ships in a massive bubble. Inside, the laws of physics themselves seemed to warp. Alien technology failed, ships collided, and carefully laid plans crumbled. Zixthuran watched in horror as a third of his fleet was neutralized in an instant. Full retreat, he bellowed. Back to FTL jump points. But retreat would not be so easy. The human ships pressed their advantage, their weapons guided by the collective consciousness of billions through the Nexus. Every shot found its mark with unerring precision. Dr. Mbiki, monitoring the Nexus from her Antarctic base, marveled at the power of united humanity. "We're not just fighting them," she murmured. "We're outthinking them at every turn." As the battle raged on, Earth unveiled more of its secrets. The Sahara Desert shimmered and vanished, revealing a massive energy collector that began to power up a weapon of unimaginable power. The Amazon rainforest pulsed with bioluminescence, launching organic EMP spores that disabled hegemony electronics on contact. Admiral Zixthuran's flagship, the mighty Eternal Dominion, found itself surrounded by the Tenjin fleet. Admiral Seto's voice boomed across all frequencies. "Attention hegemony forces. You have witnessed but a fraction of Earth's true power. Surrender now, or face total annihilation. You came seeking to conquer a primitive world. Instead, you've awakened a sleeping giant. Make your choice." For a long moment, silence reigned across the battlefield. Then, one by one, hegemony ships began powering down their weapons. The Eternal Dominion, once a symbol of unstoppable conquest, now hung in space, a battered hulk surrounded by the might of a world it had gravely underestimated. Zixthuran, his cybernetic implants sparking from damage, slumped in his command chair. I surrender. In the name of the galactic hegemony, I surrender to the forces of Earth." As the news spread across the planet, cheers erupted from every corner of the globe. Humanity had not merely survived, it had triumphed. In the span of a single battle, Earth had announced its presence to the galaxy not as a primitive backwater, but as a force to be reckoned with. Dr. Volkov allowed himself a small smile as reports of victory flooded in, but he knew this was only the beginning. The galaxy now knew of Earth's power, and the real challenges were just beginning. "Area," he said softly, "prepare a briefing. It's time to decide what kind of galactic-powered humanity will become." As the fires of battle cooled in Earth's orbit, a new dawn broke for humanity. The stars, once thought to be forever out of reach, now beckoned. And humanity, united and unveiled, stood ready to answer their call. Counteroffensive. In the aftermath of Earth's stunning victory, the planet buzzed with a mixture of elation and nervous energy. The secret was out. Humanity was not only capable of defending itself, but was a technological powerhouse that had managed to leapfrog centuries of development in mere decades. As the hegemony prisoners were processed and their damaged ships towed into orbit for study, Earth's leaders convened an emergency global summit. The United Nations headquarters in New York, now revealed to be a technological marvel itself, hosted representatives from every nation. Secretary General Okoro stood at the podium, her voice firm as she addressed the assembly. "We have won the battle, but the war is far from over. The galactic hegemony will not take this defeat lightly. We must be prepared for their retaliation, and more importantly, we must decide our next move." Dr. Volkov, now a public figure after years in the shadows, took the floor. "Our victory was decisive, but it was just the beginning. We have the element of surprise on our side, and we must use it. I propose a counteroffensive. Take the fight to the hegemony before they can regroup." The chamber erupted in heated debate. Some argued for caution, for fortifying Earth and its solar system. Others pushed for immediate expansion, staking humanity's claim in the galaxy. It was President Chen who finally brought order to the chaos. "We cannot simply wait for the next attack. Nor can we become the very thing we fought against, conquerors and tyrants. I propose a middle path, a limited counteroffensive aimed at liberating worlds under hegemony control. We'll show the galaxy that Earth stands for freedom, not domination." The motion passed with overwhelming support. Within days, Earth's hidden shipyards, concealed in asteroid belts and gas-giant atmospheres, began producing vessels at an astonishing rate. The Tenjin fleet, bolstered by newly commissioned ships, prepared for its first interstellar campaign. Admiral Sato, standing on the bridge of the upgraded Spirit of Terra, addressed her fleet. Today, we venture beyond our solar system not as conquerors, but as liberators. Our mission is clear: dismantle the hegemony's power structure and free subjugated worlds. Remember, we fight not just for Earth, but for all sentient beings who yearn for freedom. As the fleet engaged its phantom drives, preparing to leave the solar system, Dr. Mbiki made a startling proposal. We can use the Nexus to extend our collective consciousness across the fleet, she explained to the War Council. It will allow for unprecedented coordination and rapid decision-making. The ethical debate was fierce, but pragmatism won out. As the fleet jumped to FTL, the minds of billions of humans linked together, creating a vast, distributed intelligence that would guide humanity's first steps into the galactic stage. The counteroffensive began at Proxima Centauri, the nearest star system to Earth. What the hegemony expected to be a simple outpost world turned out to be a fortress, bristling with weapons that the aliens had never seen before. The battle was short but fierce, ending with the liberation of 3 enslaved species who had been forced to work in resource extraction operations. As news of the victory spread, encrypted transmissions flooded in from across the sector. Resistance movements on a dozen worlds, long thought crushed by the hegemony, reached out to Earth for support. The Nexus processed these pleas, formulating strategies that would allow the human fleet to strike at multiple targets simultaneously. On Kepler 186f, a water world stripped of its resources by the hegemony, human ships descended from the skies like avenging angels. They brought not just liberation, but terraforming technology that began to restore the planet's devastated ecosystems. The hegemony, caught off guard by Earth's sudden emergence and aggressive stance, struggled to mount an effective defense. Their fleets, once the undisputed masters of the galaxy, found themselves outmaneuvered and outgunned at every turn. Worlds that had suffered under their rule for centuries saw their oppressors driven out in a matter of days. But it wasn't just military might that marked humanity's expansion into the stars. With each liberated world, Earth unveiled more of its hidden advancements. Medical ships deployed nanite swarms that cured diseases thought incurable. Engineers rapidly constructed hyperspace communication relays, linking freed worlds in a network of instantaneous communication. As the weeks turned to months, the balance of power in the galaxy began to shift dramatically. The hegemony's once vast empire crumbled, its member species either joining Earth's growing alliance or declaring independence. Yet, not all was smooth sailing for humanity. On the desert world of Arikov, human forces encountered a species with technology that rivaled their own. The ensuing battle was a stark reminder that Earth was not invincible, and that the galaxy still held many surprises. Back on Earth, the War Council grappled with the complexities of managing a rapidly expanding sphere of influence. "We must be careful not to become the very thing we sought to overthrow," warned Secretary General Okoro. "Our goal is to free the galaxy, not to rule it." Dr. Volkov nodded gravely. "Agreed, but we cannot simply liberate these worlds and leave them to fend for themselves. They need protection, guidance." It was Area, the AI, who proposed a solution. Why not establish a galactic council, not ruled by Earth, but with Earth as a founding member, a true democracy of species where all have an equal voice? The idea took root, and as the human fleets continued their campaign against the remaining hegemony strongholds, diplomats were dispatched to lay the groundwork for this new galactic order. 6 months after the initial hegemony attack on Earth, Admiral Seto's fleet arrived at Zixthura, the hegemony's capital world. The once mighty center of a tyrannical empire now stood alone, its defenses in shambles, its allies gone. As the Spirit of Terra led the final assault, Admiral Seto opened a channel to the planet's surface, People of Zixthura, your empire is no more. But we do not come to conquer or enslave. We offer you a choice. Join us in building a free and just galaxy, or face the consequences of your leader's actions. The age of the hegemony is over. The age of unity and exploration is just beginning. On Earth, watching the transmission with bated breath, Dr. Volkov turned to his colleagues. And so, the real work begins. We've won the war. Now we must win the peace. As the hegemony's capital world surrendered, a new chapter in galactic history began. Humanity, once thought to be alone in the universe, now stood at the center of a cosmic revolution. The stars, once distant and unreachable, had become humanity's new frontier. And the galaxy, for better or worse, would never be the same again. A new era. The fall of Zixthura marked the end of the galactic hegemony's reign and the beginning of a new cosmic order. As the dust settled on battlefields across the stars, the true challenge for humanity began, forging a lasting peace in a galaxy forever changed by their emergence. On Earth, the Nexus hummed with activity as billions of minds worked in concert to tackle the monumental tasks ahead. The collective consciousness of humanity grappled with questions of governance, diplomacy, and the ethical use of their advanced technology. In the newly established Galactic Council chambers on a neutral world named Haven, representatives from 100 species gathered. The architecture was a marvel of bioengineering and quantum physics, with rooms that shifted and adapted to the needs of wildly different physiologies. Secretary General Okoro, now serving as Earth's primary diplomat, addressed the assembly. We stand at a crossroads of cosmic history. The hegemony's fall has left a power vacuum, but we must resist the temptation to simply replace one empire with another. Instead, let us build something new, a true federation of equals. The debates were fierce. Some species, long oppressed by the hegemony, called for punitive measures against their former masters. Others, wary of Earth's power, pushed for limitations on human expansion. Through it all, humanity's representatives worked tirelessly to bridge divides and find common ground. Dr. Volkov, watching the proceedings from Earth, turned to area analysis. The AI's avatar shimmered as it processed vast amounts of data. The transition will be challenging, but initial projections are positive. 78% of represented species are in favor of the proposed Galactic Federation. However, we must address concerns about the concentration of advanced technology. Volkov nodded grimly. Agreed. We can't keep our advancements to ourselves if we want true cooperation. But we can't risk this technology falling into the wrong hands either. The solution came in the form of the Prometheus Initiative. Earth began sharing its technological marvels, clean energy, advanced medicine, FTL travel, but did so through carefully managed programs. Mixed species teams of scientists and engineers worked together, ensuring that no single world held all the pieces to humanity's most powerful secrets. As months turned to years, the galaxy underwent a remarkable transformation. Former hegemony worlds, their economies once based on exploitation, were rebuilt with sustainable practices. The Nexus, evolving beyond its original purpose, became a galactic repository of knowledge, with species voluntarily contributing their histories and scientific discoveries. But it wasn't all smooth sailing. On the frontier world of Novaterra, a human colony faced a moral crisis when they discovered a pre-spaceflight civilization on a nearby moon. The debate over interference versus preservation echoed across human space, a stark reminder of the responsibilities that came with their newfound power. Meanwhile, whispers of a threat from beyond the galaxy's edge began to circulate. Long-range sensors detected anomalies that defied explanation, hinting at cosmic horrors that dwarfed even the hegemony's former might. In response, the Galactic Federation launched its most ambitious project yet. Operation Starbridge, a massive collaborative effort, aimed to construct a network of quantum-entangled gateways linking every member world. It would allow for instant travel and communication across vast distances, unifying the galaxy like never before. 5 years after Earth's first contact with the hegemony, humanity celebrated a bittersweet anniversary. The planet that had once been isolated and vulnerable now stood as a cornerstone of a thriving galactic community. But the price had been high. The loss of anonymity, the burden of leadership, and the ever-present threat of new conflicts. In New York, now a shimmering metropolis of impossible architecture and alien embassies, President Chen addressed a crowd of humans and extraterrestrials alike. 5 years ago, we faced extinction. Today, we face the future. It is a future filled with wonders beyond imagination, but also with challenges that will test the very limits of our ingenuity and compassion. She gestured to the stars, visible even in the daylight thanks to atmospheric enhancements. We have claimed our place among the cosmos, but our journey is far from over. The universe is vast, and we have only begun to understand our role within it. Let us move forward not with arrogance, but with humility, curiosity, and an unwavering commitment to the principles that guided us here: unity, innovation, and the relentless pursuit of a better tomorrow for all sentient beings. As Chen's words echoed across the planet and beyond, carried by quantum relays to the farthest reaches of the Federation, humanity stood on the brink of its greatest adventure yet. The hegemony was gone, and in its place, a new order had risen. One built on cooperation, mutual respect, and the shared wonder of cosmic exploration. Dr. Volkov, watching the speech from his office in the GDI headquarters, allowed himself a moment of reflection. They had prepared for invasion, for war, for the worst the galaxy could throw at them. But nothing could have prepared them for the responsibility of shepherding a new age of galactic peace and prosperity. As the applause faded and the work of building this new future continued, Volkov turned his gaze to a star chart displaying the latest anomalous readings from the galaxy's edge. "Area," he said softly, "begin preparations for Deep Space Initiative. I have a feeling our greatest challenges and opportunities still lie ahead." The AI acknowledged the command, and across Earth and its colonies, hidden engines of innovation once again whirred to life. Humanity had survived its trial by fire, reshaped the galaxy, and now stood ready to face whatever the cosmos had in store. As night fell on Earth, its cities gleaming with the light of 1,000 worlds, the planet's newest generation looked to the stars not with fear or wonder, but with a sense of destiny. The galaxy was their home now, and the adventure was only beginning. The end, or perhaps just the beginning of humanity's cosmic saga.